Alright, so today we're talking Obex Incarnon. This weapon's been through some changes already since the release, with some hotfixes, some bug changes, like with the Evolution 2 with the 8,000 finisher damage, now being fixed down to 80%. So it's not as blatantly ridiculous as it was once before, but it's still really, really powerful. And we're going to talk all about it here in today's video. So if you guys watched my last video, you would know that I mentioned I'm going to be covering every one of the new Incarnons. There are 5 new Incarnons. I've already gone over the Ballistica, extremely impressive weapon. If you guys want to go check that out, it is my last posted video. So go check that out. Very, very impressive weapon. But today we're going to be talking Obex, and specifically we're talking Obex for 2 reasons. One reason is because it was actually requested by a commenter in the last video that I cover the Obex next. So here is the Obex video for you. As well as I actually want to show people that the Obex is still really, really powerful even after the changes to the extremely broken and bugged finisher damage that Evolution 2 had before. Luckily for me, I actually didn't even know about this bug until it was patched, because I was trying to stay away from Warframe YouTube while I craft my own things. So I didn't even know about the actual bug with this, so all my testing that I've done since I got this weapon has been without the actual bugged finisher. So I've gotten some pretty good results, and we're going to talk about all those here today. But first thing I want to do is start with the Incarnon traits. So for any of you out there who are unfamiliar with this brand new Incarnon adapter, what it will do is you'll get to 6x combo and then heavy attack to enter the Incarnon form. And then when you perform a finisher attack with this weapon, it will deal a large radial attack, dealing the damage you dealt to that enemy with the finisher damage to all enemies around it, making this a unique AoE finishing style weapon, which is something that we don't actually have in Warframe, which makes it quite unique. As far as the second evolution goes, there are 2 evolution options here. The obvious evolution option for anyone with over 450 armor is to go for the 80% finisher damage, as finisher damage, as we know, is multiplicative damage. So going with finisher damage is going to be your best bet here over the other option, as the other option, all it will do is open enemies up to they will open enemies up to finishers while you are using your neutral combo of your melee. So if you stand still, don't press W or any other buttons, no right click, and you just hold E, that will open enemies up to finishers if you decide to go for this. You can go for this if you know you're not going to have over 450 armor, because they give the same amount of base damage, and if you don't have over 450 armor, you're getting nothing extra out of this, when you could still at least get something out of this. Though there are a ton of different ways to open enemies up to finishers, at least you are getting something out of it if you go for this when you don't have 450 armor, as the base damage value is the same. For the second trait, I've decided to go for the parkour velocity. This gives you 2.5% parkour velocity on finisher kills, stacking up to 16x. That is 40% parkour velocity after you get 16 kills, which with most setups you'll be running with this weapon will be very, very easy to get. This also counts on your mercy kills, which is very handy. Now, if you guys wanted to go for more of a light attack setup, there is the range option, which if you're going for a light attack setup with this weapon, I would highly recommend you go for the range option, as range is not that good on this weapon, being only 1.25 meters at base. And then your other option is combo timer pauses when the weapon is holstered. You guys can run this if you'd like. For me, I'm not really a huge fan of these. I'd rather just run the really long duration with things like my arch gun, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So I'm going to be running with a rapid conclusion so we can get that nice movement speed that we oh so very much want. Now, as far as the final evolution goes, today we are going to be using critical coefficient to get that 1.2x critical damage multiplier in the Incarnon form, so we could bolster the damage of our mercy kills. Your other options on here are Absolute Dominion to increase your base status chance by 20%. I could definitely see some builds where this could come in handy, as well as your other option being Subtle Force, increases your base critical chance by 10% and base status chance by 12%. Depending on what kind of builds you guys want to go for, these could be options for you, but today we're going to be sticking with critical coefficient as I now go ahead and get into the build. Alright, now regarding the build, I do have only one build for you guys today. I have been working on some other things, but nothing really feels as strong to me as the Generalized just finisher build. So this is what I'm going to be providing you guys with today. Now, as far as this build actually goes, what this build is going to consist of is it's going to consist of everything you need for this weapon to be able to succeed. The only outside source that I've been using with this has been silence. So pretty much this build has been created to be able to deal the most amount of damage that I've been able to get it to do, while also being able to deal red crits without the use of something like Wrathful Advance, so we can use Savage Silence and get that wicked final damage multiplier out of the finisher damage that we're going to be getting from that. So with that understanding, this is the build. The stance mod doesn't actually matter. I'm just going with Brutal Tide. Tennokai also does not matter. I would just recommend you run Tennokai because this build does not use Crescendo. So you're going to need to be able to get over 6 and then get into Tennokai and still get to 12x combo. So if you run Tennokai, you can get to 6, get your Tennokai proc, go into, Incarnon form, and you're still stacking. Whereas if you don't have Tennokai, you have to go back to 0 and then back to 12 again. So I would recommend you guys do run Tennokai with this. Doesn't really matter what it is. Just pick the one that's for you and then run it. Discipline's Merit would probably be the most consistent. Now, the AoE of the Incarnon form attack when you do a finisher does scale with Bane damage. Scales with things like Roar. So we are going to be using a Bane on our build today. As well as with my setup and the way I've been playing, I'm going to be going for Condition Overload as I've been actually priming with various elements and especially cold as we're using melee Kareen on here. When enemies are frozen, you get 2.5x increased melee damage against them, which is extremely, extremely solid as a multiplier with everything else that we have going on this build. Now, like I said, you do need to actually build your combo on this setup. So we do have Quickening as our attack speed. We will get 40% attack speed and 20% combo count chance. You guys can go with the extra attack speed, or you can go with this for the extra combo count chance. For me, I decided to go with the combo count chance, but you guys can totally go for what you want. Like I said, since we're not using Wrathful Advance, we are stacking our own critical values, so we are using Blood Rush. Since we will be at 12x, we're going to get full value out of this. Since we are doing finishers, of course, we have Finishing Touch on here for finisher damage. If you guys have a Riven that has finisher damage on it, you could just swap it for this slot right here. I do go for Galvanized Steel, as after 4 kills, this will give 120% critical damage, as well as just giving us 110% additive CC at base. We have Gladiator's Might on here. I've decided to opt for this instead of Organ Shatter solely because it gives us 10% melee critical combo chance per our combo counter. So with Blood Rush and this, we're actually able to get up to red crits quite easily and consistently, which is really nice. And then for the final mod of the build, we actually have Entropy Detonation. This is an Obex specific mod. Now, personally, I honestly can't tell you guys if this is actually worth using or not. I don't really notice that much of a difference with this on or with this off, but I've seen some people online using it. So I decided to include it in here. If I didn't include it in here, I would probably just throw Fever Strike on here just to get that elemental scaling for my overall damage value. But for now, I do have Entropy Detonation here. If I do end up changing this, I will leave a comment down below pinned on what I decided to change this to. So now that you guys understand the build, I'm actually going to go hop over and show you guys what this can actually do in the mission. Now, as far as the Warframe that I'm using for this showcase, it's going to be Ash. Yes, I know everyone's using Ash to showcase this, but it's pretty much a no-brainer. You get 458% extra finisher damage when you use it his 3. You could also use this on enemies that have Overguard, which usually are not susceptible to finishers, which makes this really, really solid for this weapon, as well as I am running Silence with Savage Silence to give us that increased finisher damage. Build is very, very basic, just base range, a little bit of duration, a little bit of strength so we can get that value up, and then Crepuscular, Fury, and yeah, that's just the build overall. So now I'm going to kind of give you guys an idea of the damage that this can do and the way that I like to use it. Alright, so as far as using the actual weapon itself is going to go, I'm going to give you guys the full idea here on how I do everything. You can see here, obviously, my melee 0x combo. I usually just keep my compressor out because, like I said, we're using melee Korean. My compressor does have cold on it, so you can see cold will proc, and then melee Korean will give us that extra damage. Not mainly for this right now, just right now what you want to do is you can see I'm stacking my combo up to 12, and I got Tennokai chance, so now we're in Incarnon with 12x combo. So pretty much all you want to do now is you could just, be in stealth on Ash or whatever abilities are active, silence, and, maybe hit him with a little bit of cold damage, and then pressure 3. And, you're not dealing 2.1 billion damage with this, but you're consistently and very, very easily dealing tens of millions of damage from any location, really. I mean, you have a super long range, plus you have a ton of parkour that you're going to get not only from the weapon, but if you decide to run the augment that gives you parkour and uses third ability, that's another option for you. So you could see here just from this, and also my combo duration is very long because I am using my Arch gun, you can see 318 million damage in the back there. So you get some really solid damage out of this. But you can see I'm running my Arch gun. I just use RB set, but you could run both dexterity mods on here. And the combo duration does count. Even if you wanted to run it here on the actual weapons, like I could run dexterity on my secondary here like this, and you could see it would be the same thing, but I would get an even longer combo duration. So you could see, going up to 12x one more time, use my tennocreate. Now I'm in Incarnon form. Now we're finally at 12x combo. And I could reset the enemies. And you guys will be able to see here, if you just look at the bottom right, you can see just how long the combo lasts for. So you don't necessarily need to run something like Naramon if you don't actually want to. Because the combo is just going to last super long like this. Now, also, if you guys are interested in running True Punishment, I actually did some testing with True Punishment. It is very solid when it comes to getting your 12x combo initially. The only thing about it is that once you get the 12x combo, you don't necessarily need it anymore, because it's able to, you know, get you there quickly, but then once you get there, you don't actually need it. The only thing I will mention about it here that is very good is it does say it removes 50% of your combo duration, but that is only the base combo duration, guys. So you'll only lose 3.5 seconds of your 30 plus second, you know, combo timer, as long as you have this kind of setup with your arch gun and your regular weapon. So if you do want to run True Punishment, that's fine, but for me, I just felt I didn't have the extra slot to put it in. If I really wanted that extra combo count chance or stacking chance, I just go Naramon and use the slam to be able to get the extra chance. That would be a pretty decent idea for the build that I have. So now that you guys understand this build and the kind of damage it can deal, I really didn't want this to take all that long, because I am just showing you guys a one build today, but I want you to understand that it's very, very powerful still. I know I've seen a lot of people online saying it's not worth using. Originally, when it came out, even before, you know, the bugs, and then even after the bug change, I see a lot of people online saying it's not worth using. This is absolutely still worth using. It is so powerful, and when you run a setup like this, it just makes mercy kills so accessible that it's almost like this is an AoE weapon. You're just going around and you're just pressing 3. I mean, a lot of times you don't even need to do much. You can see all I have up is silence. I'm not even in stealth, and you know, just with my 12x combo that I have, I'm able to wipe out these manic bomb bars, which are simulated level cap trash, you know. So you don't even need the extra prime from something like, you know, my compressor. You could just change condition overload over to prime pressure point if you wanted to go about it that way. But instead, you could just use the setup that I'm using here, and you could make sure you're killing anything in sight. So this is really, really impressive. I would definitely recommend you guys give this a try on Ash, solely due to the fact that you can use the third ability on enemies that have Overguard. It's really, really good for that. But there definitely are a lot of other frames that you can use, like Excalibur is very solid. Lavos will provide you with force procs. You can use frames like Anaros, Valkyr. You can use with prolonged paralysis, I can't say that fucking word. Yeah, you could use that. So there's plenty of options that you guys can go for with this. I just wanted to show you guys what I decided to use and what I've been rocking with lately. Alright guys, that's going to be the build video for today. Like I said, I definitely think this weapon is worth using. It is extremely powerful. Ash almost feels like he was perfectly designed for this. I can't talk enough about how good it is that you could use this on enemies that have Overguard. Very, very useful, but you guys can go about the build a different way if you wanted to. I just wanted to put my video out there to show you guys the way I decided to build the weapon and the way that has really been working well for me. So if you guys did enjoy the video today, leave a like, leave a comment down below if you have any other cool build ideas for this weapon or anything else that you just want to see from me. I would love to know. Sub to my channel, it helps me out a ton, and as always guys, have a wonderful rest of your day.